Welcome one and all. You can call me Wild Rose, Wolf, or whatever works. And today we're starting a 200 plus mods for Stardew Valley collecting challenge. This is going to be a long-term project and my first uploading to a YouTube series. I never thought I would end up posting to YouTube, but shout out to Salmons for his Let's Play Stardew Valley Expanded series, which helped me realize I didn't need to do 100-day videos and could start smaller. The next shout out goes to Wand of Sparkling for his Collecting All the Items videos, for showing me that there is a market for people like me who like stuff. And finally to My Scenario and his currently in progress series where he's working his way through collecting all of his collections of mods worth of stuff, for showing me that as long as my computer will run the file, I can collect even more things. Speaking of collections of mods, I have a spreadsheet that I worked very hard on. It's linked in the description, and you can go ahead and check it out if you want to see my progress so far, and get a nice list of all the mods that I've got downloaded. So, let's get started! I don't often play as myself in games. Instead, I like picking a character from whichever fandom currently has me in a chokehold, and go from there. And so, everyone say hi to Zoe on Huntrix Farm. I'll be playing on the Frontier Farm from Stardew Valley Expanded because I'm going to need the size and the room to grow into later as the playthrough progresses. So, one of the mods I've got downloaded is Vegas Item Compatibility Patch, which takes the names from some of the duplicate items and mods and changes them so that they aren't duplicated anymore. This mod isn't going to fix all of my duplicate problems, but it will help some of them. One of my favorite things in the Frontier Farm is the fact that it comes with a calendar already. But man, look at all these characters. There's, 2 days where there isn't a birthday or a festival? I mean, I'm excited, but we'll see how this goes. After getting my zoom settings to where I wanted them and then clearing out some space, I tilled 13 spots in preparation for 13 parsnips, the exact amount needed to get to level 1 farming. For this first year, I'm not going to worry so much about all the new seeds and crops I can grow, but I am excited to see what I can find as I explore around the valley. And I don't really want anything stolen, which means getting a scarecrow first. Mail on the first day, huh? Okay, this one is pretty self-explanatory. I've got a mod that adds bugs, and they show up mostly as forage, I assume, and can be donated. Another one. Okay, this one's from Escarp. What cute bird stationery. And another one, a D&D cat cafe? Oh, it's not a Dungeons and Dragons cat cafe. It's just a cat cafe owned by people whose initials start with D&D. Well, it's not quite as exciting, but that's fine. And that's from Sunbury Village. And this next one is from my Aunt Charlotte, who I've never met before in my life. She's going to give me a blueprint to make baubles. Nice. Okay, wow. I actually wasn't expecting this much mail, but I probably should have. I did add a lot of mods. Still, flower seeds are nice. Okay, this one is from someone I've actually met before. Lewis decided on vibes alone to give me a weird plant starter he found. How nice. This does make me wonder if the mailman was confused by dropping off all this mail at a seemingly abandoned farmhouse, but he still did it, so, good for him. Well, now we've got the Lenny and Lewis Ridgeside cutscene, followed by the finding of our first bug. Yay! I got a bug. I got a bug, I got a bug, hey, 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 hey. After the bug, I met Kenneth the electrician, Harvey the doctor, Leah the artist, Abigail the adventuress, and Pierre the lesser evil. Then I got to look at Pierre's current stock. Wow! Okay, I am so excited. I bought the 13 parsnips and then contemplated buying some of those iris seeds, if only because there was only 3 of them, but bought a green bean and some cucumbers instead. Both are multi-harvest plants, and that brings me up to 15 seeds which won't get eaten. Seeing how expanded Pierre's stock was made me want to check out my quests to see what was there. My bug needed to be turned into the museum, my Aunt Charlotte's table needed to be built, a parsnip needed to be grown, and 114 people needed to be met. Oh boy. Okay. So, let's get started then. I met with Caroline of the green hair and thumb, Alex the jock, Jade the researcher, Penny the bookworm, Evelyn the granny, George, her husband, Carmen, a fisher of men. And by then, I was so distracted by the forage I could see that I ran to the museum to donate my bug so I could make space for more stuff in my backpack. I dropped that bug in one of the expanded areas because I needed more space, and then I made my way back to the beach, where I ran into Elliot, the self-suffering writer, and then picked up a conch shell and a beached oyster mushroom before deciding I didn't need the acorn, so I planted it in the ground and picked up a sunflower sea star, which was pretty cool. I then went on to meet Jody the mom, Maro the inventor, Philip the physical therapist, Yuma the younger brother, Shiro the older brother, Beatrice the lighthouse keeper, Emily the creative, Gus the saloon owner, Pam the drunk bus driver, and Sam the blonde man with a band. At which point, I realized I wanted to get those seeds in the ground and make space in my inventory so I could look around for more forageables and new stuff. After putting my 15 crops down, I then cleared out more space, making sure that the path to the backwoods and the cindersap forest was open, and got to foraging level 1 before deciding to run around the map looking for stuff in the dark, because I didn't have much money and I had leveled up, so no consequences. However, it was in fact very dark. I have no doubt I missed things, but I did get some cool stuff off of shaking bushes, and I met Morris at like midnight. And at 1, I contemplated a mysterious glowing ruin, and then met up with a raccoon who did a reverse shakedown and gave me 100 G, and passed out before I could grab a leak. Overall, I think it was a great first day. Start of day 2. We stood on our tiptoes to water the crops, which is kind of adorable, and something that is vanilla and all the player characters do, but it's fun to point out. We got a subscription to the Angler's Guide, which will give fishing tips on the 10th of each month. Harvey billed me 13 G for getting woken up at 3 a.m. when some poor schmuck dragged me to his clinic, and then presumably he dragged me back to my house. What a nice guy. Pierre noticed my inventory troubles and proceeded to send me an advertisement, and I got a letter from Marnie, who I haven't met yet, who told me she was excited that I was building a big coop. This letter is tied with the Universe Chickens mod, which I am so excited for. I love chickens. But for some reason got sent on day 2. This letter came with 50 pieces of hay, which would be nice to have in the future though. Then I got a letter from my mom, who proceeded to tell me how to live my life, but at least I got a new crafting recipe out of it. And to round it all off, Willie told me he'd come back from a fishing trip and would like me to come visit him. I then cleared out some more debris and found my first geode while working at it. I worked until I was almost out of energy and then ate the salad I had found in Leah's garbage can the day before. I made a second chest that I planned to place fish in since I didn't have enough for Pierre's backpack upgrade yet, and then proceeded to get excited over the new crafting recipes I had, before finally leaving the farm with the chest as the only thing in my inventory. I then proceeded to meet Ian the freelancer, Jarek the potential Pierre alternative, Haley the resident mean girl, Marnie the chicken supplier, Ezra the fashionable, Iman the absent-minded, Olivia the rich, potentially one-eyed Jessie, or maybe she's just a good winker? We'll see. And Sophie of the vineyard before finally making my way to meet up with Willie, who gave me a used fishing rod. I then proceeded to make a mistake and set my chest down by Willie's shop rather than closer to one of the beach entrances like I had initially planned. And since I didn't bring any of my tools, I was just going to have to leave it there. Whoops. I then caught my first fish, a herring, followed by a sardine, and then my first new fish, a pygmy seahorse. It's so cute and pink. Oh, just look at it. Anyways, then a vampire anemone came with my first fishing chest, which had coal in it. A sea bunny, which was adorable. I said hi to Carmen and then did a quick scan of the beach forage and found my first recipe in a bottle. I had then put all my spoils in the fishing chest and fished up a zebra eel, another pygmy seahorse, and some seaweed, a grenadier and another vampire anemone, and finished it all up with a halibut before I was all out of energy. So I put everything, including my rod, in the chest and made my way north to see if I could meet Sebastian, the local emo kid. I did manage to meet up with him and ran into the raccoon again, who gave me a gnawed-on piece of wood. Very generous. I then broke into Linus' tent to meet up with him at 10:30 and grabbed as much forage as I could see as it steadily got darker. I sold off some of the things I had duplicates for and then met Martin, the local teenage employee, taking the midnight bus home. I think that's against labor laws or something, but who would I report it to? Finally, I picked up the daisies that were sitting around my farm while I scythed away some weeds in the dark before actually going to bed. I got level 1 fishing and level 2 foraging. For day 2, that's pretty good. I also got to see how profitable those star shards were. How fun! Day 3. It's always raining day 3, and that means the start of actually checking the Weather Channel on the TV. The mail for today included a notice telling me that I could use Central Station to get to Mount Vapius for $250 a ticket. I couldn't actually get there yet, but it was nice to know. Gus gave me some borage ravioli, and I realized that I was going to need another chest sooner rather than later, so I spent some more time clearing out my farm, until I was exhausted, at which point I decided to eat the ravioli, which had some interesting buffs, fishing and magnetism. It didn't fill my energy as well as salad, but it was still nice. I do enjoy having magnetism and look forward to having a ring sometime in the future. After spending that energy, I made a second chest and moved my tools to it before deciding to go on another foraging run. Ran into my first instance of a doubled up bush and ran out of space before I could even make it around the lake. Also, there was forage in the cow pen. Don't think I'll be able to get those anytime soon. I went back to the farm and drop my loot off before making my way back so I could get even more stuff. I then said hi to Leah. Lewis told me that spring wouldn't last forever. I met Jazz the Quiet and said hi to Marnie. On my way to pick up more stuff, I found an area that I hadn't seen before. I've played Expanded before and I'm pretty sure it's from that mod, but I've never been. It was pretty cool. I love finding new places. And then I found another bug! And I quickly ran out of room in my inventory again, but I tried to finish up my loop around anyways. I kept seeing these sticks? Planters? Something. I'm not sure what they are. I wonder if flowers will grow on them since they look a bit like trellis crops? I guess I'll see. I dropped everything off again and then tried to remember where I'd seen the forage as it got darker and darker. I found a sign that told me something was closed until further notice, but it looked like a cave, and upon entering I found a campsite. Inside the tent was someone named Ranger Taro, who told me that the forest had a lot of old growth. She was surprised it hadn't been cut down before. Well, that was before I moved in. Ha ha, we'll see. I am going to need a lot of wood. I was pretty sure I hadn't met her yet, but it was cool to find another new area to explore. I proceeded to run out of room again, so I filled up my bag 3 times from that one map. It was nuts, but I loved seeing all the new things. So much to discover. I made it home around midnight, decided to ship off some duplicate stuff. I ended up checking my collections tab, finally, and found 46 pages on the shipping tab, 6 on the fishing tab, 2 for the artifacts, 3 for the minerals, 8 for cooking, 2 for weapons, which comes from a mod that puts weapons and clothes in your collections tab, 3 pages for hats, 7 for shirts, and 1 each for pants, boots, and rings. It is going to be so much fun, guys. We are going to be here forever, and I'm so excited. I then shipped off one of each of the base game's spring forageables along with a handful of other duplicates. Then I went to bed. We got to level 1 mining, which comes with mana bombs rather than regular bombs. I kind of want both, but I don't know if I can get both. Something to look into later. And level 3 foraging on day 3. That means we're 3 for 3 foraging levels, and that's impressive. Day 4. I watered crops and had to run all the way to the stream to get water. But what are you gonna do? Get a well. That's what we're gonna do. I don't usually get wells, but foraging has brought me in more money than it usually does, and if you're going to get a well for anything besides aesthetics, it's better to do it earlier in the playthrough than later. And I do want it for aesthetics later, so there's that too. Anyways, we got more mail. Robin told me that if I want a kitchen to cook those 18 pages worth of recipes, I would need a house upgrade. The foraging letter gave me some more wild strawberries and told me to keep picking them, which is a given as I'm addicted to shaking the berry bushes as the rest of the Stardew community. Then Lewis gave me some seeds from Mount Vapius. And Robin sent a second letter about building a well. What do you know? I do appreciate that she puts the exact amounts of material needed in the letter, which she doesn't do for any of the other upgrades, which, you know, I'm a forgetful person. I mean, I just don't remember how much stuff she needs all the time. That's probably one of the things that I look up the most on the Stardew Valley wiki. So, haha, now you know. So, I grabbed the stone that Robin asked for, my bug, some geodes, some stuff to sell to Pierre so I could get all the stuff I wanted, and I also got to meet Claire while picking up forage on the way to the shop. She had a normal reaction to someone you just met staring you down, and I still had some time before Pierre opened his store, so I shook some bushes, rifled through some trash cans, spilled some pumpkin soup on the ground, but my backpack was full, so I had to leave it there. I said hi to Alex, Shane, Morris, and Maru before finally increasing my storage space. Huzzah! No, I really needed that. Anyways, I sold enough forage to get the upgrade and to break a couple of geodes and went north to get that well bought. As the first Robin building on my farm. I'm certainly going to keep her busy in the coming years. She had an option to build in some place called Mountain Meadow, but seeing as I didn't know where that was, I decided to wait on that. I checked her store stock and found some fun new things to look into, but I am mostly looking forward to that big chest recipe. While I was at the house, I met Demetrius the scientist and found a warped totem to Mount Vapius. It's an owl. Owls are cool. I did some more foraging, said hi to Linus, and then met Jasper, who wears a green cape. Even with the expanded pack, I managed to run out of space while in the backwoods. Guess I better stay saving up for the next upgrade. I then proceeded to forget about the bug that I was going to donate, or that I was going to go into town at all, because I started a foraging loop instead. Whoops. I did see a weird-looking weed, so I whacked it and found my first resource egg. Because I don't just have one chicken-themed mod, I have 3. This one comes from resource chickens, and their eggs can act as either normal eggs or a way to get more resources. I'm honestly so excited to have green chickens on my farm. You have no idea. I still hadn't met Andy, the local redneck, so I went looking through his trash rather than search too hard for him. I did remember that I wanted to get to Clint's before closing, so I cut through Blue Moon Vineyard and said hi to Sophie. Oh, her name's Sophia, isn't it? Whoops. Before running to the beach to get even more stuff. But again, I ran out of space before I could get it all. I saw a new person named Elias and said hi to Sam before eating an onion to make space for my geode cracking. I got a couple of items and officially met Clint the blacksmith before going to donate them, and that's when I realized I left my bug at home. My bug! Oh well. On the way out, I ran into Andy, who told me farming was honest work and that I was lucky I had inherited the farm from my grandpa. And honestly, hard agree. Man, I wish someone left me land in real life, 'cause, housing can get expensive. So, I gave him a moonberry to try and soften his opinion of me before going to say hi to Olivia, who told me that she does not so honest work, but that she's glad I found my passion. Well, you do what you do. I then met Juliet, who gave me who gives me quirky high schooler vibes. But anyone who works in a retail job needs something to keep them sane, and if calling herself a weirdo is her way to do that, then good for her. I made my way back to the farm and dropped off all my loot before realizing that I needed to make another chest. Yep, gonna make a lot of those. But also realized that I had full energy and therefore had the opportunity to clear out more farm space and get enough wood for the beach bridge, as I was mostly just excited to get even more forage. While chopping trees, I found another resource egg. This one is a sap egg, and I'm really so very excited to have chickens. Anyways, by 10, I put all my wood back into the chests and realized that the mines were going to be open tomorrow, and that having played Stardew Valley Expanded before, I wanted to get the forest sword that's at the bottom of the expanded Cindersap forest. And I only had 4 hours until I passed out, so I started my run by going to the backwoods and grabbing the forage I had left behind. But then I made my way down to the Cindersap forest, grabbing all the forage I could see along the way. I had leveled up in foraging again while cutting down trees, and I only had 19G, so I was prepared to pass out far away from my cozy bed. So I kept searching in the dark, and at 1:40 I managed to grab the forest sword and had almost a full backpack for the next day. And keeping up my streak, I got level 4 foraging at the end of day 4. Day 5. As anyone who's made it through the first week of Stardew Valley knows, Spring 5, Year 1 is an important one, as it's the first opportunity you have to have Marnie show up with an optional pet. So, welcome Bobby to the farm. Everyone say, "Hi Bobby!" Anyways, as per tradition, we've got mail. This one came from eScarp and came with free seeds. Harvey charged just 1G for getting woken up again, and Joja cleared part of their landslide. It'll take them another month for part 2 of the cleanup, but to be fair, the Adventurers Guild have swords to threaten them with, while poor Susan does not have a sword to threaten people with. The lesson here, of course, being sometimes you need to threaten capitalists with swords. Makes sense to me. I got to level 1 farming by picking 13 parsnips, and then grabbed all the random seeds I'd been waiting on. I'd have to wait till the next day to plant more than the 15 still, but it was fun to see what would come next. I grabbed the wood for the beach bridge, I sold off some extra stuff I had lying around, and luckily realized that if I wanted to place a chest in the mines, I would need a bit more wood. I also remembered to grab my pickaxe, as I would need that to go mining. I met a kid named Kihai before entering into the community center cutscene with Lewis. I sat through the cutscene since I wanted to show up just outside the community center doors, because I have absolutely forgotten to actually check the craft room scroll before and been confused why the wizard didn't send me mail the next day. So yeah, no more skipping this scene for me. Still, I had enough chores to do today that I probably could have gotten away with skipping it, so that I could be closer to the beach and the blacksmith and the museum. Whew, man, I really did put too much on my plate for one day. Anyways, I finally picked up that pumpkin soup I had left on the ground and met Flor while I was hastily stuffing it into my backpack. She's a clinical psychologist, and I'm sure she got a good look into my inner workings as she watched me pick 2-day-old trash soup off the ground. I also met Blair, my self-proclaimed future wife. Good for her. Her and every other single person in the valley, as I will need their portraits for my collection. But that's pretty far away, all things considered. I also said hi to Sophia and gave her a fruit. I met Jacob the mobile vet. Hopefully I won't need his services for Bobby, but it is kind of interesting that I met him on the day I got my dog. I met someone named Coda on the beach, but she didn't tell me much about her. But then I didn't have time for her either, since I had a whole other side of the beach to pick up things on. I ran out of space again and went to the beach chest I had placed down to place all of that sea-based stuff into, plus a few other odds and ends I had picked up, and grabbed the sardine I had fished up for Shane's request. I finally made it to the museum with that bug, only to find a whole bunch of kids going to school. Luckily, that girl Flora was there to help Penny, as I'm not sure she could handle all of them by herself. I stopped by Joja to give Shane the sardine, because work is absolutely where I want people to hand me raw fish. But upon completing that, I actually did make my way north. I found even more forage, including this horseradish that was down in the gorge. I wasn't able to pick it up, but it's kind of funny that it spawned there. Because it was so late in the day, I went to the guild to meet Marlin and found Jasper there talking about finally finding dwarves. Well, good sir, I'm gonna beat you to it. Marlin then teleported over to the cave so he could be dramatic about fighting monsters and give me a magic sword. After that, I set the chest down and put everything into it except my forest sword, pickaxe, and the moonberries just in case I needed the energy, and found a new node for vanadite and got an ancient seed? Well, okay then, I'll take it. I found a node for taconite. We can talk about it tonight, taco night. Anyways, I made sure to kill every monster I could see, bugs especially for the insect head weapon as an upgrade, which is my usual strategy. So when I got a second ancient seed, I had to stop and think for a long moment. Because, I didn't actually download anything which would have changed the odds of getting an ancient seed, I think. I have so many mods on this, I can't really be sure. None of the mods should have, but I didn't check the code for anything besides the items that could be added. So there is a chance that I just happened to get 2 ancient seeds on the first day in the mines, but I find it unlikely. And if I find it unlikely, then I'm sure that any of the viewers will be even more skeptical. Still, the challenge of this playthrough is based on the items, not the money. So for that reason, I'm not going to go looking for code changes. But just know that I actually had to sit and think about this because I was in so much shock. Still, I wasn't done mining yet, as I wanted to get enough copper for 5 bars and the furnace, so 45 pieces. I found some brown coral and needed to eat all of my moonberries, but ended up getting all the copper I needed by floor 10, where I also picked up the leather boots. At which point, it was past midnight, so I grabbed the items I thought would be useful from the chest and decided to run back home, even though I'd probably pass out, which I did in the backwoods. Level 1 farming came with so many scarecrow recipes that I couldn't see anything else that I may or may not have also gained. What you gonna do? And level 2 mining came with a gem polisher. Day 6 started out with Clint giving us the blueprints for the furnace, and upon checking my mail, the local wizard told me that he could help with my rat problem. The forging club sent me pancakes. I don't know what that has to do with forging, but I appreciate anyone who sends me pancakes. And then I got another mail from the forging people, but this time they gave me a mushroom log and a hint that I might be able to get some cool stuff by placing mushroom logs by some modded trees. I'm super excited to try some of these new things out. I then got a letter from Marlin telling me I needed to slay 10 slimes to join the Adventurers Guild, and Harvey building me 10G. He really is such a great guy. Hi, Bobby! I made a furnace and started firing up the copper bars. While those were firing, I watered my plants and set up a couple other places for plants and realized that I needed wood to make a scarecrow. I finished up my bars and went back and forth on which tool I wanted to upgrade first before deciding on my axe. I then made my way over to the wizard tower, berry picking and twig chopping to waste time. I gave the wizard a berry and then broke into his basement to raid his library, which after seeing how much we wanted to learn magic, he gave permission to look. And then I found a journal page saying that he wanted some dwarven cuisine. Finally leaving the tower, I also remembered to check the bundles. One of my favorite things about this game is that you don't actually need to go to the community center to look at the bundles. You can check them from your inventory. I did install challenging Cornucopia Ridgeside Village Stardew Valley expanded bundles, which will include items from the 3 named mods and ask for more items than usual. I did this in part because this is going to be such a long-term challenge that this will stretch out the progress a bit, and I also wanted more places to use the modded items. Still, that does mean that I might not finish the community center until sometime in year 2, so we'll see how that goes. I gave Andy a berry and kept trying to grab items even though my bag was full. At 3:50, I finally realized I needed to book it to the blacksmith. Running into town, I saw a Junimo with a moon decoration run away from me, but I didn't have time for that. I barely managed to click on Clint's store at 5 and got in, only to completely forget that I was there to upgrade my axe. Ugh. I donated the items I got my ancient seed, but honestly, I seriously considered restarting the day because I forgot. I went down to the beach where I ran into the raccoon who gave me a slightly nibbled on tulip as a consolation for my brain blank. So I decided not to restart the day. I morosely meandered my way back to the farm, where I planted my ancient seeds and other seeds I had been given from the museum and had found in the valley, and used the rest of my energy to clear out some more stuff on my farm. I did some chest organizing and sold some of my extra stuff I had, and then went to bed. On day 7, I learned my first Queen of Sauce recipe as stir fry. And then I went to go check my mail. I got some money from my dad, and the wizard asked me for an ancient fruit whenever my seeds finally matured. Even though he's got his own garden of ancient fruit right outside his tower, mine must just be special like that. The wizard then sent a second letter telling me he had some information that could be useful to me. Which, sure, I'll take information. With only 3 letters, I got down to the morning chores. Watering was made easier by my well. And we all said, "Hi, Bobby!" I realized I had enough funds for not only an axe upgrade, but a coop as well. It is at this point that I should tell everyone that I got too ambitious for the time allotted to me in a day. If you've been paying attention to the numbers, it takes 300 wood and 100 stone to build a coop. At the start of the day, I had 80 wood and 5 stone. I had no tool upgrades, so getting all the materials took all the way to 5 o'clock, which is when the shops close. So that's 2 days of no axe upgrade in a row. So once again, feeling a bit morose, I decided to go on a foraging run through the Cindersap Forest, which upon entering through the newly cleared through passageway, I found the traveling cart with a mysterious lady being pulled along behind her. She's one of the ways that Cornucopia Cooking adds recipes. She's lost pages of her cooking book around the valley and will give me copies of her book in reward if I return them to her. It'll be a fun side quest for sure. Suki, as Stardew Valley Expanded calls her, had some recipes. I wasn't sure that they would return or be random, so I bought the 2, but nothing I was particularly interested in otherwise. I met an older fellow by the name of Silas by the lake. He had found a beautiful flower that he hoped someone named Myong would like, but he didn't actually introduce himself. Seemed sweet though. I said hi to Abigail, who thinks the community center is haunted, and continued on my foraging journey. I found a spring onion right next to Andy's crops. He must have seen me grab it, because he commented on how he can eat them for breakfast. So I sheepishly gave the onion I had just picked back to him. It was on his property after all. I checked Sophia's trash and got a grape planter, and on my way to the beach I realized there was a pier that stretched over to a new area that I had never seen before. Was that always there? I'm gonna have to check later. I also checked my fishing chest and grabbed some things out of it to clear it out a bit. I was glad I had checked the beach, as there was a conch shell on it, and I would need 5 of those for the spring foraging bundle. I said hi to Morris and gave him a 10G flower, to which he said that I was very generous. What you gonna do? I sold some more of my duplicate items, but realized I would probably need another chest. Oh boy, more wood chopping. And that was the end of my first week on Huntrix Farm with Zoe. I ended the week with level 5 foraging. Foraging is absolutely going to be my first level 10 skill, and that's wild to me. But with how much stuff is all over the valley, I actually understand how Linus is able to just chill in the mountains and survive off of bushes. There's so much stuff. I love it. But it will probably take a while for me to stop being distracted by shiny objects on the ground. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it, and I'm looking forward to working on the next video as well. If you'd be willing to like and subscribe, that'd be great. But more importantly than that, I hope you have a good, fantastic, outstanding, marvelous, extraordinarily great day.